Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. Folks, I want to take you to some live comments from the floor of the United States Senate. We're going to jump right into what's going on in the United States Senate right now, folks, as different lawmakers are debating the pros and cons of the 1.9 trillion dollar stimulus plan. So let's jump on over, folks, to a live feed from C-SPAN, and then what I'll do is let's play this and let's analyze this together, everyone.
Big. We're hearing from economic experts telling the Senate to go big. Treasury Secretary Yellen, fresh off her unanimous 26-0 vote in the Finance Committee, as well as Fed Chair Powell, are saying go small and you make a big mistake. Mr. President, that's why the outline that a group of my Republican colleagues brought forward this week just does not get the job done. It's the same playbook as 2009, and it leaves too many workers on that economic tightrope for years to come. The budget resolution before the Senate has some big solutions on the economy and on our workers. Right off the top, it makes investments in vaccines and care that's needed to end the pandemic as quickly as possible. This is the number one way to get the lives of Americans back to normal. Not going to happen overnight. So in the meantime, our economy needs another rescue package. That's what the budget resolution, essentially sets.
Folks, we are listening to the Democrat Ron Wyden from the state of Oregon, and he's talking about the importance of the entire $1.9 trillion rescue package, everyone. Let's get back to this live feed.
Us in the right direction. Three examples of why this resolution is so important. First, it sends big financial support to jobless Americans. There is not going to be a full jobs recovery as long as it's unsafe to go to restaurants indoors or go to conventions or pack fans into basketball arenas. Those workers need help. As I mentioned when we heard a little revisionist history on the expanded unemployment earlier, as the ranking Democrat on the Finance Committee, I negotiated the $600 per week boost and expansion of unemployment insurance last year in the CARES Act. It was an economic lifesaver for workers who use that money to pay rent, to buy groceries, to cover the costs of medicine. And I still have those workers come up to me and say, Ron, I heard about what was going on in the Senate. You all gave me.
Folks, obviously the Democrats are going to have their points, and so are the Republicans. I would urge you to come to your own conclusions. There are a lot of videos on YouTube. Some people are saying, "Hey, we need to get rid of Joe Manchin and Kristen Cinema," and some people are bad, and some people are saying the budget resolution's a done deal. Folks, the wheels of government turn slowly, but they turn. Every single one of these lawmakers, I would imagine most of them actually, have what they consider to be the right intentions for the country. So, folks, trying to blame, point fingers, criticize. I mean, I guess it's the thing that we want to do, and I get it. But let's try and listen to both sides, and feel free to make your own decisions. So let's get back to this feed right now, folks.
Start nickel and diming workers, hard-hit workers, out of the relief that they so desperately need. And as I noted, there was just one vote, only one vote, Mr. President, in the original CARES package. And that vote was led by my colleagues who would have blown up the only way to get benefits in a relatively quick way out to millions of workers. In my hometown, the average rent for a two-bedroom apartment is $1,750. Traditional unemployment insurance benefits don't come anywhere near paying that rent. If you're a single parent trying to raise one or two kids, even with the expanded benefit, you're barely making ends meet. If you're a two-income household, it can also be a big struggle. Nobody's going out and buying boats with their unemployment insurance benefits. They're spending it at corner stores, local markets, going to the pharmacy, paying for medicine for kids that aren't feeling well. The budget resolution before the Senate calls for a 6-month extension with an extra boost of $400 per week. It's a proposal that I support. In later packages, I want colleagues to know I'm going to keep pushing for the full $600, and I believe that Congress ought to tie the extension of unemployment benefits to economic conditions in our communities.
I agree with this 100%, folks. This is the automatic stabilizer method that I have covered in other videos on our channel. Basically, if unemployment rates go up, if a particular state's doing badly, then the unemployment booster goes up in that state. Unemployment benefits get extended in that state. This is called an automatic stabilizer method. There's no need for negotiation between the House and the Senate. There's no need for both sides to play shenanigans. There's no need for a president to say, I will sign it if this is there. I will not sign it if that is not there. It eliminates all of that. Numbers guide the story. That's what Ron Biden's talking about.
Hit by the pandemic. And it's particularly important because a lot of restaurants weren't able to take advantage of the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program. Another key jobs proposal that is part of this resolution is help for states and localities. And I want to make something clear for the record about state and local funding, because this has been attacked by our colleagues on the other side since last March. I would bet my last dollar that somebody will come down to the Senate floor this week and rail about the so-called blue state bailout and say it's all waste. That is nonsense. State and local funding is first and foremost about jobs that are a lifeline. It's about firefighters. It's about road crews. It's about sanitation workers. It's about public health employees. It's about teachers. It's got nothing to do with red states or blue states. It's about saving people's jobs in communities.
And folks, I have to say I agree with that. The whole red states versus blue states it's not an argument I'm going to get behind. And it's not, I believe it's divisive. I believe it's political theater. At the end of the day, we are all Americans. Yes, some of us need more help than others. Yes, some of us are less responsible than others. But that does not mean we divide ourselves as red states versus blue states. This, by the way, is a very cool political talking point, and I can guarantee you that our enemies in China, Russia, they enjoy it when we divide ourselves like that. So I just want our viewers and subscribers to know that. Let's get back to this.
Clear before the pandemic, certainly no denying it today. Increasing relief checks to $2,000 is going to help, especially because so many workers have lost hours or taken lower paying jobs than they had a year ago. But the budget resolution also includes fresh ideas from President Biden and colleagues on this side to increase families' income, first and foremost, expanding the earned income tax credit and the child tax credit. In my view, this is long overdue. And Mr. President, people always ask, well, what's it really going to do? What's it going to do that's meaningful for our country? What we are told is that that effort is going to cut child poverty in half. Just try to put your arms around that. When you go home to talk to folks and they ask, hey, what's going on there? And you can say, I'm part of an effort, a sensible effort, which for many years had some real Republican support. I'm supportive of an effort to cut child poverty in half, give millions and millions of families a chance to get ahead. Sure sounds.
Folks, this is a subject that's very close to my heart. Personally, I love kids. I have, I have two kids, a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. I said to my wife, hey, it would have been nice if we had like 12, because I love kids. And she's like, good luck with that. And look, we're both 43 years old, so we're not going to have 42. We're not going to have any more kids. Not going to happen. But I love kids. And, as a licensed physical therapist, I can tell you that I've worked with a lot of kids that kids need food more than you and me. You and I as adults, we can go, a day, 2 days. Some of us probably probably need to go a day or 2 days without food. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. But kids need food. Kids need nutrition, and so you know, hunger amongst kids is for me it hits a nerve, and so I don't think there should be any hungry kids anywhere in the world, especially in America. So just wanted to chime in with that. I love kids, and I would have a dozen kids if I could, but yeah, two, it's over, and that's the end of it.
Colleagues, the only place where there's really strong division on the value of this budget resolution is within the four walls of the Senate. Last point is a little bit personal. The President of the Senate and I have known each other a lot of years, worked very closely, the other body in here. And I've, over time, gotten a fair amount of flack for sometimes being too bipartisan, doing too much to try to bring both sides together. And I always will say, always, it's better if you can find common ground. But calls for unity aren't supposed to be a political baseball bat where you club somebody. They're supposed to be real. They're supposed to be about finding common ground, not about stalling for the sole purpose of stalling. What you see in this budget resolution is exactly the kind of plan that Americans voted for and that the overwhelming majorities of Americans support. So that's why I'm strongly behind this resolution. As a senior member of our party on the Finance Committee, I am looking forward to a lot of debate on this issue. That's why I felt it was important to step in when we heard some revisionist history from the other side that there hadn't been any partisanship. There sure was on that very first vote on the CARES Act. So this is an important debate. And what's really most important is that while we continue to listen to our colleagues on the other side, while we continue to reach out, which I am committed to do, the United States Senate gets this job done because there is too much economic hurt in America to do otherwise. We have another unemployment cliff coming in just a few weeks. Technically, the debate, Mr. President, is March 14th. That's when the next round of unemployment expires. And I really think we've got to get this done by the beginning of March. There is no time to waste. I urge my colleagues to support the resolution. As I will, I yield the floor.
Folks, one of the biggest problems was that House Speaker Pelosi and the U.S. Trade Secretary Steve Mnuchin were negotiating for months, and it was only December, January that there was another stimulus. We cannot let this be. We cannot leave this until the 14th of March, which is when the existing unemployment boost expired. In fact, I think something needs to happen much sooner by way of the stimulus checks because families need help now. Give me an amen in the comment section if you agree. But boy, oh boy, folks, there are many who are suffering.
A violent mob was able to overrun Capitol Police and quickly gain access to the area where a joint session of Congress was being held. 5 people, including a Capitol Police officer, died as a result of this attack. I hope that together, Republicans and Democrats, we can get to the bottom of what occurred on that day and ensure.
Folks, I'm seeing some comments from our viewers and subscribers saying no debating, just send people their money. I agree with you. But I'm telling you that this is the way our government works. The government debates both sides, specifically the House and the Senate. They debate something, both sides, they hear opposite sides of the argument. And, in the past, these things never used to be televised. Now they're televised so we can all watch and analyze. Honestly, I believe that the closed door negotiations should be should be televised. In fact, I would love to have been a fly on the wall of the Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin and House Speaker Pelosi. And now, when they, for example, the discussion last night between President Biden and the 10 Republican senators, I would have loved to have heard that. That is what I think we actually need to listen into as citizens. Look, these comments from these senators are important. And again, the way our government works is one person doesn't unilaterally make a decision. Okay? So therefore, the process of debating is normal. It's the way the government works. It's part of our constitution. And so these things take time. Folks, so Washington, D.C. is the kind of place where things work very, very, very slowly until, boom, they work quickly. So what we are seeing is the normal government in motion. And the 14th of March is when the $300 a week unemployment booster expires. And so something needs to be done well before then. We cannot until the last moment. So let's hear what Senator Chuck Grassley from Iowa has to say. He is the most senior Republican that we have in the Senate. So let's hear what he's saying.
The subcommittee on the Constitution that there had been 277 federal officers in injuries at the federal courthouse in Portland, adding further to that total previously given to you. Officers were assaulted nightly there and there for months, slashed, hard objects thrown at them, struck with objects like hammers and baseball bats, even blinded by lasers. In another offensive, 60 Secret Service officers were injured during a sustained attack on the White House, which caused then President Trump to be brought into a secure bunker. The church across the street from the White House was lit on fire as a part of that continued assault. Over 300 people were charged federally for their roles in these weeks and months of violence. 80 of those charges related to the use of arson and explosives. Others involved assaults on officers and destruction of government property. However, the nationwide riots, which broke out in nearly every major city in the country, were predominantly state offenses. At least 14,000 people were arrested in 49 cities. At least 25 people died in violence related to the riots. Property Claims Services, a company that tracks insurance claims relating to riots and civil disorder, estimated that the insurance losses from the summer's civil unrest far outstrip all previous records to possibly exceed $2 billion. It has been a relatively frequent sight at the summer's violent events to see individuals acting in coordination in all black bloc holding the A symbol of Antifa. An admitted Antifa adherent in Portland murdered a conservative protester. Antifa supporters have been charged federally for promoting riots and using Molotov cocktails. While that violence has slackened now, after President Biden's electoral victory was declared, it has far from abated. Antifa rioters attacked Oregon Democratic Party headquarters.
Folks, in case you're just joining us, we're listening to debates on the floor of the United States Senate. We're listening to Senator Chuck Grassley, Republican from Iowa, the most senior Republican in the United States Senate, making his speech. And we're looking for important indicators of what's about to happen. But I do think it's important to hear our elected officials, and I'll be breaking down these comments and helping you make sense of some of the craziness that goes on in Washington, D.C. Let's take a look.
Domestic terrorism in his annual threats testimony. He has previously testified that 900 to 1,000 domestic terrorism investigations exist at any given time. There are also about 1,000 what they call homegrown violent extremism investigations. These are cases in which an entirely U.S.-based person without direct contact with a foreign terrorist organization is motivated by global jihadist movement. And of course, there are thousands more committee hearing that over 300 domestic terrorism cases were opened due to the violence just this past summer. This is a significant increase in the ordinary amount of domestic terrorism in the United States. That this violence occurred, the facts and the figures that surround it, should not be news to anyone. However, I must admit that I've been extremely surprised by the responses of Democratic members to this violence. For weeks and months, the most consistent response seemed to be to deny the violence was occurring at all. I saw Chairman Gerald Nadler on TV, chairman of the House Judiciary Committee.
So, folks, I have something interesting for you all. And now, how many of you know who Mike Lindell is? How many of you know who Mike Lindell is? Let me know in the comment section if you know who this guy Mike Lindell is, because this information literally just came in, everyone. Mike Lindell. Anybody knows who he is? Type out in the comment section, and I want to know if you folks know who this guy is. So this guy is a big supporter of the president. Okay, and go on over to the comments and see if anybody guessed. Yeah, that's right, Jenny. You got it. Anyway, so Mike Lindell, folks, is the My Pillow guy, and what he did was, because he was banned from Twitter. He now appeared on Newsmax, and by the way, I just want our viewers and subscribers to know that this guy, folks, Mike Lindell, folks, if you read the news, and I'll provide you with a couple of links in the description section below. He advocated that there be a coup. He does pump out a lot of dangerous conspiracy theories, specifically about voting machines and whatnot. There was an interview with him on Newsmax. Okay, Newsmax, and folks, it did not go very well. Let's watch this together. One of my friends sent me this, and I'm going to watch it live with you folks, my community. Let's take a look at it together, and I want to know what you folks think. We're going to watch live, everyone, an interview with Mike Lindell on Newsmax that, unfortunately, folks, did not go very well. Let me do this.
Speaker.
Let me actually pause the other, because I have that stream going on. Look, folks, at this video with Mike Lindell, because someone told me that I had to check it out, and let's check it out together, everyone.
What happened? What happened with your Twitter account and the company page?
Well, first, mine was taken down because we have all the election fraud with these Dominion machines. We have 100% proof. And then when they took it down about 3 weeks ago, and then when I put it back up, my personal, it was a
Mike, thank you very much. Mike, you're talking about machines that we at Newsmax have not been able to verify any of those kinds of allegations. We just want to let people know that there's nothing substantive that we've seen. And let me read you something there. While there were some clear evidence of some cases of vote fraud and election irregularities, the election results in every state were certified, and Newsmax accepts the results as legal and final. The courts have also supported that view. So we wanted to talk to you about canceling culture, if you will. We don't want to relitigate the allegations that you're making, Mike, because we understand where you are. So let me ask you this. Do you think that this should be temporary? Because it appears to be permanent. Could you make an argument that it is temporary?
What?
Could you make an argument that this could be a temporary banning rather than permanent?
No, I want it to be a permanent, because you know what? They did this because I'm revealing all the evidence on Friday of all the election fraud with these machines. So I'm sorry if you think it's not
Mike,
it's real.
can I ask our producers, can we get out of here, please? I don't want to have to keep going over this. We
Actually,
at Newsmax have not been able to verify any of those allegations that you're.
Mike, hold on a second. Everybody hold on a second. Mike, hold on one second. Let's talk a little bit about just what is happening overall in terms of censorship of.
Trying to cancel out my company and myself. In this country, it's cancel culture. They're
Wow. Oh, wow. Guys, I saw that. I saw that just with you guys. That was interesting. Let me know what you thought of that, guys, because I don't think, folks, I don't know about you, but I don't think that went very well for the pillow guy. Let me know what you think. Pretty incredible comments. Let's get back and let me hear. Let's actually let me know what you guys think of this. Pretty stood up and he kind of just walked away because he was a little bit fed up with what Mike Lindell was saying. Guys, that is bananas. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to retweet that right now. Okay, and that's going to be on my Twitter feed, everyone. So in case you guys don't know about my Twitter feed, let me show you my mugshot. There it is, folks. That is my Twitter feed. Please follow me on Twitter. I just retweeted this bizarro interview. Right now, it's got 614,000 views. I assure you, by tonight, it's going to be maybe 2-3 million views because, boy, that was a bleep show. And let me know, folks, what you think of that rather interesting interview. In the meantime, let me see what's going on, folks, on the floor of the Senate, and let's see if we can pick up where we left off and see what the senior most Republican senator from Iowa is saying right now, Senator Chuck Grassley. I believe he's still talking about civil unrest, but let's chime in and see what's going on.
And police use of force, as well as racial and ethnic tensions and homegrown violent extremists inspired by foreign terrorists and groups, end of quote. The response that I've seen to the Capitol riot here in Congress has not given me hope that we're in agreement about combating this broad range of threats in the spirit of giving equal attention to the dangers of domestic terrorism or any kind of violation of law, whether it comes from the right or the left. I've seen that many Democrats.
And folks, I have some news for you. While this is happening, folks, I do have some breaking news because this news just came in on stimulus, everyone. So I do have some breaking news for you on stimulus, everyone. And let me actually pull that up and show it to you. Folks, let me know if you like this format. Hey, I love doing these live streams for our community. Just so that you know, I'm an angel investor. I'm retired. You know, I have multiple businesses. I do this because I enjoy it. Number one. Number two, I'm a nerd. Number three, I'm able to follow and keep up with the news, and I do it for our community. If you want me to do more live streams, and if you want to join me on live streams to keep up with the news, just let me know. I'll probably make time to do it. But let me show you, folks, this on your screen right here, folks. Jeff Stein from the Washington Post just reported this, just happened, that some senior Democrats are looking at lowering the threshold, everyone, on stimulus payments. So they start phasing out stimulus payments above $50,000, okay, for single taxpayers, and above $75,000 for head of households, and $100,000 for married couples. So, folks, we could still have, I want to be clear, folks, we could still have a $1.9 trillion stimulus package. We can still have $1,400 stimulus checks, but the money could end up being more targeted. What is the definition of more targeted? Bam, there's the definition of more targeted on your screen. The talks are very fluid and the conversations are ongoing. And by the way, here's what I'll do is I'll retweet this so you folks can follow it on my own Twitter feed. And I'll definitely, make sure to bring you information as it evolves, everyone. But it looks like the White House is open to narrowing who qualifies for the stimulus checks. Isn't this interesting, right? So, folks, this information just emerged, right? Check this out. This just emerged. The White House is open to narrowing who qualifies for stimulus payments, but the White House does want to keep the payments, folks, at $1,400 per person. So we could see the stimulus payments being the same, but going out to a smaller pool of people, specifically those among us who need it the most. Because I think folks, it's fair to say that someone making $30,000 a year needs the stimulus checks more than someone who makes $250,000 a year. In case you're wondering, hey, where did you get the number of $250,000 a year, folks? The conservative Democrat Joe Manchin said that if a family has two people, well, he implied it. If a family has the husband and the wife making up to $150,000 a year, and they have two dependents, adult dependents, who each make $75,000, that's a family making $250 to $300,000 a year as a household. They still would qualify for the stimulus checks under the Biden plan. So the proposal is that the White House should narrow, folks. The proposal is that the White House should narrow the stimulus payments. Let me know, folks, in the comment section whether you agree or disagree with this proposal. So, folks, again, this is reporting from the Washington Post. The White House is open to narrowing, okay, eligibility for the next round of stimulus payments, but they still want to keep it at $1,400. And President Biden has publicly acknowledged willingness to negotiate the stimulus payments. Which under the current plans would diminish at 75,000 for individuals, couples making 150 a year, similar to the CARES Act. But they are open, folks. They are open to lowering the threshold for the payments so folks, here's what this would mean. If you make more than $50,000 a year as a single taxpayer, it'll start to sort of you won't get the full 1,400. If you make more than $75,000 as the head of household, you will not get the full 1,400. If you make more than $100,000 as a married couple, you will not get the full 1,400. And so, folks, there's something beautiful and interesting here. You ready? This takes an idea from the Republican proposal and merges it into the Democrat proposal. Folks, I want you to understand that this is our government working. Our government works best when we take the best ideas from both sides. I'm going to repeat that because that's important. Because I understand the passions. Nobody's wrong, okay? Nobody's wrong. We all have our own passions. Everybody's like, oh, Biden hasn't done enough and Biden should have passed 2000 right away. Why are they debating? And then on the other side, you have, well, this is not working and, they play these games, that games. We live in the here and now, if President Biden is able to take the best ideas from the Republicans, merge it into his plan, hopefully, incorporate the Republicans in the decision-making process and provide more stimulus to those who need it the most, we could have the best of both worlds. And that is pretty much what is happening. So, folks, this is actually an encouraging thing because, as you know, a group of 10 Senate Republicans wanted to strike a bipartisan agreement. And they had suggested lowering the income thresholds to $50,000 for individuals and $100,000 for couples. And then they suggested reducing the size of the stimulus checks from $1,400, folks, down to what's like, nah, we're going to keep it at $1,400. That's how it's going to be, man. Yeah, that was my Biden impersonation. I don't think it was very good. So according to a White House spokeswoman, Rosemary G. Boglin, she said the president remains committed to finishing the job on delivering $2,000 in direct relief to Americans who are struggling to make ends meet. So, folks, by the way, I am going to release another video focusing on the comments from the White House press secretary, Jen Psaki, who basically said that a nurse and a teacher, a couple, earning $120,000 a year in President Biden's hometown, by the way, of Scranton, Pennsylvania. That was just an example. This would be all over the country. Should, I quote, still get a check. So it looks like President Biden wants to narrow who gets a stimulus check, but at the same time include a large portion of not just lower income America, like the Republicans want to do, but also middle income America. But definitely, I think that President Biden is open to leaving out high income earners. Because if you're making $250,000, $300,000 a year as a result of this pandemic, it seems to me that you probably don't need a stimulus check. So that is what is going on right now. Let's now look at another senator speaking, and let's folks jump right in to the arguments on the floor of the United States Senate. Everyone, let's get back to this.
Numbers in front of me. This is on an average year, we have 39 1,000 people who lose their lives through a gunshot wound. That's a suicide, a homicide, an accidental shooting, domestic violence crimes. If you break it down, that's around 100 people a day. And there's no other high-income nation in the world that comes anywhere close. We talk about the issue of gun violence through the prism of people whose lives have been lost because it's so morally disrupting, cataclysmic when you have a loved one, normally a young loved one.
So, folks, I'll let you know when they get back to some of these stimulus discussions. But, folks, we are gradually heading towards a targeting, if you will, of the stimulus package. And, folks, as I'm recording this, I can tell you that more news is coming in. How many of you are following the news with Marjorie Taylor Greene? I don't know if you folks are following the news, but folks, there is more Republican senators have actually started to distance themselves from her. So that's what's going on as well. So, folks, I hope you've learned a lot from this. I am actually going to be, let me actually quickly give you an idea of everything we've released so far on our channel so that you can actually keep up with all the content that I'm putting out, because I do want to make sure that our viewers and subscribers understand all the stuff that's available to you, really. So let's show you my screen right here. Let me hide myself. So, folks, today I released a video essentially highlighting that the $1.9 trillion package is likely to pass with budget reconciliation. Let me bring myself up here. It is likely to pass with budget reconciliation because Senator Joe Manchin, the conservative Democrat from West Virginia, did say yes. But here's the big one, guys. He is not, I repeat, not in favor of the $15 an hour minimum wage. He said, hey, it's $11 an hour in West Virginia, and that's okay. So he's not going to support $15 an hour. By the way, what this means is that they will have to make several amendments to the $1.9 trillion package, which they were going to make anyway. It's not like the $1.9 trillion package would happen. It would go through many revisions. Also, I talked about President Biden being open to targeted stimulus, which has now been verified with new information that I just reported on this video. Also, the hidden dilemma over big stimulus, which is basically the resistance, the opposition from the conservative Democrat from West Virginia, Democratic Senator Joe Manchin, who's not in favor of the $15 an hour minimum wage. So that's unless they can get him to change his mind, the Democrats will have to back away from that. Again, I want to repeat, folks, unless the Democrats can get Senator Joe Manchin to change his mind, they will have to back away from the $15 an hour minimum wage because they are not going to get 51 votes. To get 51 votes to pass budget reconciliation, they need every single vote they can get. And by the way, they've already voted to start the budget reconciliation process. But the final bill, if it includes $15 an hour minimum wage, it does not look like Joe Manchin will support it. So I want to be clear, the budget reconciliation process has already been voted on the Senate, and it passed by 50 to 49. But the $15 an hour minimum wage, the roadblock, if you want to call it that, is Senator Joe Manchin. He is, he has concerns about that, and obviously you're watching me break down what's going on the floor of the U.S. Senate live. So I want to see if we have any other senators actually speaking right now. Let me jump in, and I believe it's still Senator Chris Murphy talking about other important matters pertaining to the economy. So that's what's going on there. But folks, what I'll do is I will provide you any updates as they happen. But it does look like we have a new threshold for the stimulus, everyone. And President Biden, when he was asked to comment, here's something interesting, folks. President Biden, when he was asked to comment on his new executive orders regarding immigration, guess what he said? He said, okay, this is what he said. He said, I'm not making new law, I'm eliminating bad policy. Wow. Quite an interesting way for us to end this video. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I'm going to be releasing important videos on comments from the White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, the battle for the $1,400 versus $1,000 stimulus checks, and $300 a week versus $400 a week unemployment benefits. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you all. Please do me a favor. Please click like. Please click subscribe. Please enable notifications. I would really appreciate that. That helps out the YouTube algorithm. That makes me feel happy. That makes me go like this. I'll do anything for a like, guys. I'll do anything. Hopefully, I've earned your subscription by consistently working hard and providing you with valuable content at no charge to you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Thanks. Bye.